Hey guys, Zack here, and welcome back to the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. So, in the last episode, we investigated the murder charge against our client, and I don't know, seems like there might be something fishy going on there, especially considering, you know, Larry Butts and Wendy Oldbag, kind of not the most reliable duo of security guards. So, yeah, we're going to try and use what we found to try and maybe prove that our client is innocent of murder, because he most likely is. But in any case, we're going to be investigating that, and yeah, let's just go into the trial now, so that we can actually figure out what's going on here. Alright. October 14th, 9:41 a.m. District Court Defendant Lobby number 4. Alrighty. Hey, Nick! What is it this time? You won't believe how many people are here for the trial. Well, it is a murder case. What are you talking about? They're here for the trial next door. Next door? Why don't you know this, Nick? They're having Detective Atmey's trial today. Detective Atmey? They say they're going to try him as Master Mask. Already? That was fast. Boy, I'd love to see Master Mask's trial. I know. By the way, where's Pearls? Oh, she went back home. She said she can't neglect her training anymore. I know you don't like me. Pearls has really gotten into her training lately, huh? Yeah, ever since that incident last year. Please, don't ignore me! Okay. Oh, Mr. Delight. Good morning. No one likes me. No one would notice me even if I killed someone. Come on, don't be silly. Wait a sec. You don't mean you're the murderer? No. I'm just a poor thief. No, wait, that's not right. A thief can't really be poor. Now, let's see. According to Mr. Delight, from his second crime album, he was following a bunch of set plans. Plans that someone had been sending to him to help him commit the heists. Do you really think there's a connection between the thief and the murder, Nick? It's possible, but today's trial is a race against the clock. Huh? How come? Let's just take our time like always. I'm afraid that's not an option. October 14th, 10 o'clock a.m. District Courtroom number 6. I'm a little curious to know what Phoenix meant by that. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Ron Delight. The defense is ready, Your Honor. You're ready? Preparation is the last refuge of the weak. Okay, settle down, everyone. Let's begin with your opening statement, Mr. Godo. He's got the judge in the palm of his hand, yet again. Ron Delight is simply too young to be sent to war. That's all. I'm afraid I have no idea what that means, Mr. Godo. Ha! Then you need to get out more, Your Honor. Life is war, but that is exactly why you must be more precise in your wording. That's all my statement means. You understand now, right? Yes, well then, let me briefly summarize the details of this case. Wow, the judge is taking charge like he knows what's going on for a change. Yeah, kind of. He does kind of know what's going on. The victim is Kane Bullard, CEO of KB Security. His body was found in a safe at approximately 9 a.m. on the morning of the 13th. However, the time of death was estimated as 1 p.m. of the previous day. And that's when our little lost kitten dropped the ball. That little lost kitten is, of course, the defendant. Very well, Mr. Godo, please call your first witness. I never drink more than 17 cups of coffee during any given trial. But the first one is always the best. Mr. Godo, your witness? Okay, then. Let's hear what the defendant, Mr. Ron Delight, has to say for himself. The defendant? Well, Mr. Wright, does the defense have any objections? It may be a bit of a disadvantage having the defendant testify, but... I remember when Mia was defending me. She allowed me to testify so she could do the cross-examination. She put a lot of trust in me back then. We have no objections, Your Honor. The defense will allow Mr. Delight to testify. Yeah, so he knows from personal experience the importance of letting them testify. You've got guts, Wright. Alright then, Mr. Ron-Delight, please take the stand. Alright, time to learn what Mr. Delight has to say for himself. You did it, didn't you? Yes. Well, okay then. Huh? No. That's not true. For a moment there, I thought we set the record for the shortest trial ever. Well, Mr. Delight already looks plain guilty with that face he's making. And once he opens his big mouth, he'll probably put the last nail in his own coffin. Very well. Now then, can you tell me something? If you didn't kill Bullard, why did you go to KB Security? Well, that's kind of hard to say. Boy, I wish I could go home. Now then, let's hear some testimony about what happened. Okay. Time to figure out what happened. My visit to KB Security. That evening, around 1 a.m., I went to see Mr. Bullard in his office at KB Security. The blackmail letter I got, it ordered me to go there. I'd been working for KB Security until a year ago, so I knew where his office was. That's 1 a.m., the exact time the murder took place. The weak get washed away by the tides of fate. The strong drink it up. It's bitter today, too. Just like my destiny. You'd never know from the way he's chugging it down. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, if you please. Okay, let's see if we can piece together if we can actually find a hole in our own client's testimony and push things around. That evening around 1 a.m. I went to see Mr. Bullard in his office. I don't think there was anything wrong with there. 1 a.m., huh? You're absolutely sure about that? Yes, that's what my watch said when I entered the CEO's office. No. Actually, I'm not really sure. My watch was slow, and my internal clock was also a bit... 1 a.m., that's the exact time the victim, Mr. Bullard, was murdered. Correct? It's too late for a coffee date, that's for sure. Blackmail letter I got, it ordered me to go there. It ordered you there? It was the first time I'd gotten a blackmail letter that ordered me to go somewhere. Does that mean you've gotten other blackmail letters then? Oh, of course. They'd say things like, steal this or take that. Why don't you save those for later, Mr. Delight? Please don't say any more. Now, what should I do? You know what? Press harder. So, what did the blackmail letter in question say? It said to bring 50,000. Money, eh? A perfect motive for committing murder. Oh, but... Wait! I never intended to pay that money anyway. Oh, is that right? After all, he had nothing to hold over my head. I had nothing to be afraid of. An important point indeed. Witness, let's add that add to your testimony. Yes, sir. A muddy mud skipper in outer space had a better chance of surviving than I do. The blackmail letter didn't scare me. It wasn't going to cause me trouble or anything. Alright, so let's push this then. Alright. Just what were you being blackmailed about anyway? The blackmail letter said, if you don't want your identity revealed, correct? I'm sure it was referring to the whole mask-to-mask thing. But I wasn't worried. Mr. Bullard didn't have anything on me. He didn't? Anyway, I don't care what anyone says about me. Just as long as Desi believes in me. So, that's why Mr. Light didn't believe he was mask-to-mask. That's why I knew they were just hollow threats. Okay, I've been working for KB Security until a year ago, so I knew where his office was. Alright, push again. You used to be a security chief for KB Security, right? Yes, that's right. A security chief? You? And yet, a year ago, you were fired without notice. Revenge for an old grudge? Perfect motive for murder, wouldn't you say? This isn't good. Maybe I should change the subject? Why were you fired? Mr. Light, please tell us why you were fired from your job. Well, The world is filled with those who have said. I wish I had never asked that. Okay, then I take it. Okay. Defendants, please answer that question. Well, I needed money. You needed money? Well, you see, Desi loves to spend it. It's kind of her hobby. Not exactly the best hobby in the world, huh, Nick? My salary wasn't nearly enough. So I stole data from the company. Ooh. Come again? Data security has a lot of security info on all sorts of companies. And since I was security team chief, you stole some data and sold it. Mr. Bullard found out, and I was fired immediately. What? I wish I had never asked that. I was somehow able to keep it a secret and made it seem like I quit on my own. What is it, Nick? You don't look so good. Someone who brings harm to their company is fired as punishment. You do well to remember that. He sure told you. So you admit that you stole data from your company, is that correct? Seems like. Yes, I'm sorry. This is a very important fact. Please add to your testimony. Oh man, this whole thing just took a big turn for the worse. Crashed and blew up. It's gonna take the jaws of life to rip this case from its clutches of disaster. Okay, let's press this again and see if we can find more in details. Alright. Okay, so how does she not know about this? Why would you do something like that? Well, for Desi's hobby. What else? Wasting money, huh? It's not a waste! So Mr. Light doesn't know that her husband was fired, does she? So it would seem. I'm not sure what to think about couples who keep secrets like that from each other. I can't believe it. This case has gotten even Maya to think seriously about couples. Please try to stay focused, Mr. Wright. There wasn't much in his testimony, was there? Sounds like he's avoiding something. At least, that's what it sounds like to me. Uh-oh, I've got a bad feeling about this. We'd better be careful. But if we don't find a way to make him spill the beans, we'll never get closer to the truth. Yeah. Alright. What do I have to... Okay, so let's go through my... Okay, well...
Objection!
Alright. Oh! Tisk. I'm afraid that reason isn't going to hold up anymore. Oh! Okay, I found a thing. What do you mean? The victim had no proof the defendant was mask to mask. But you were the one who stole company secrets only 1 year earlier. But that was all over with once I was fired. But it is true that the fact I stole secrets was kept under wraps. Even so, there's no reason for me to pay up now a whole year later. Is that really true? What is it, Nick? The fact that Ron was stealing company data. I wonder if he would have had a problem if that ever became public knowledge. Actually, yes he would. Because if his wife knew, that would be a problem. Mr. Delight, I believe you would have been in considerable trouble if your identity as a company data thief was made public. But Mr. Wright, what are you trying to do by bullying your own client? Ha! Men are like colonies of bacteria. The more heat you apply, the faster they grow. But that's exactly right. Well then, feel free to keep up the heat, my little lawyer amigo. Little lawyer amigo? Yes, now come on. Provide some evidence to back up your assertion. Alright, why would Mr. Delight want to keep his data stealing secrets from going public? Well, we already know that. We already know the answer to that.
Take that!
Mr. Delight, what you said just now doesn't match what you told me yesterday. Huh? What doesn't? I think you must have been scared, very scared, of having a certain person find out your secret. You'll... A certain person? Miss Desiree Delight, the defendant's wife. Well, but I... well, listen to me, my Desi, she's... Looks like if I just sit back and relax, the fun will end before it truly begins. Goto. Yes, we know. It was all your wife's fault. What do you mean? Mr. Delight stole company day to pay for his wife's spending habit, for which he was fired. Unable to face his own wife, someone used his dirty little secret to blackmail him. And that is how this murder came about. Oh. No, everything is falling neatly into place for him. Don't talk about my Desi like that, or you'll be sorry. Okay. If you say so. Well, it seems that we've learned a great deal of things here so far. What do you think, Nick? I didn't think it was possible to get so thoroughly whipped in just 20 minutes. Clearly there was sufficient motive for murder. He stole data for his wife, and he killed to protect his secret. A family man who cared just a little too much. The motive is clear. Let's move on. What happened at the crime scene at 1 in the morning, Mr. Delight? Come now, tell us. We're all ears. Okay, so now we can establish that he wasn't indeed the murderer. When I entered the office, there was a suspicious shadow there. Suddenly, I was hit on the forehead. After that, I remember being a bit dazed. If I hadn't been wearing that, I would have been killed. When I came to, Mr. Bullard was lying there, dead. I see. Suddenly hit on the forehead, huh? I believe the detective from yesterday provided similar testimony. He said that Master Mask struck him on the head from behind. Of course, since Amy turned out to be the culprit himself, that was a lie. Ha. No one's going to believe a pathetic lie like that. What are you saying? I really was attacked. Okay, well, we'll find out if what you say is true or not during the cross-examination. Got that, Mr. Trite? Don't go easy just because he's your client. If I see any sign that you are, I'll treat you as another cup of my special blend. You don't need to worry about that, Mr. Goto. I have faith in Ron. I know he didn't do it. Alright. At the CEO's office. Let's figure out what's going on here. Who was that suspicious shadow? If there was 1,000 of me, and even one new, I'd tell you. Trust me. He's dodging all the questions. He's not helping us with this case. Okay, then how was the victim Mr. Bullard at the time? What do you mean by how was he? Was he already dead? Was he still alive? Maybe he was the one who hit you in the first place. That's a good question. What do you think, Mr. Wright? Forget it. Okay. Your forehead? Yes, I was hit on the forehead as soon as I entered the room. It was an amazingly fast and powerful attack. Do you remember anything about who hit you? Well, like I said, it was a fast and powerful hit. So I think I was a little dazed for a while. I don't think Mr. Light even grasped what you were asking. Yeah, I'd like to show him his fast and powerful attack myself. Maybe that would knock some sense back into him. If I hadn't been wearing that, I would have been killed. That? What do you mean? That? Could you please clarify what you were referring to? Why, my Master Mask costume, of course. Wait just a moment. Master Mask? Huh? Oh, did I forget to mention it before? Just to be on the safe side, just as Master Mask. And then I descended upon the office of the CEO at KB Security. What? Nick, did you know about this? You never told me this. I don't recall him ever mentioning it to me either. Even I didn't know that. It seems our little friend really loves to keep secrets. I'm sorry, I just never had a chance to mention it up until now. Wait. That's not right. You know how sometimes things just slip your mind. Ah, my 6th cup of coffee is staring up at me coldly. At any rate, we can't ignore this new piece of information. Witness, please correct your testimony. I'd have been killed if I hadn't been wearing my Master Mask costume. Alright. Okay, so... why were you dressed up as Master Mask? Why? Because I'm Master Mask, of course. What are you talking about? Master Mask's trial is being held next door. Ah, yes, I guess so. Anyway, at the time, I thought I was being blackmailed over the Master Mask issue. So I thought I should go as him just to be safe. Oh boy. Let me tell you, it's a real pain to move around with that cape. That's why it took a lot longer than I expected. Took a lot longer? What is he talking about? Press harder? What do you mean by took a lot longer? Oh, opening the safe, of course. My cape got caught on the safe door, you see. This all happened when I was hiding Mr. Bullard's body. What is that? Back up a second. Yes? You were the one that hid the body in the safe? Well, yeah. Inconceivable! Why? Just why? What reason could you have? What were you thinking? Question. When does someone toss their dirty shorts in the washing machine? What? The answer is simple. When they take them off. As usual, I have no idea what you're saying. Do you mean that Mr. Light hit the body because he's the murderer? Ah, so you're not as stupid as you look. His metaphor that time was really obscure. Mr. Wright, you don't mean that you knew about this whole safe business, do you? Oh, well, yes. Why am I the only one not in the loop here? Alright, witness, make sure you add this to the testimony. Yes, sir. Uh-oh, looks like a storm front is moving in all over the fair-weather judge. Alright. Alright, when I came to, Mr. Bullard was lying there dead. Okay. Alright, so you found his when you came to. Yes, I was passed out in the corner of the room. Do you know when your assailant made their escape and to where? I'm afraid I don't really remember. Huh? Once they hit me, I lost all track of what was going on. I think that's when they made their escape. Ah, that's certainly a convenient story for you, isn't it? It certainly is, isn't it, Mr. Wright? It almost sounds practiced. I don't know why you're telling me. Okay, so we gotta figure out. Packed and hid the body and safe. It took about 10 minutes. Why did you hide the body in the safe anyway? Well, because it wouldn't fit in a drawer. That's not exactly what I meant. When I saw the corpse, I kind of lost it. I thought, if they find his corpse, they'll think I did it. Ah, I think you had a simpler reason than that. It's because you killed him. That's why you spent 10 minutes hiding that body. That certainly makes more sense. Hold on. 10 minutes? What is it, Mick? I just had a thought. Under those circumstances, would you normally try to hide the body? And spend 10 whole minutes to do it? Under those circumstances? What circumstances? Oh. Hey, Nick, if you think his behavior was so strange, why don't you present some evidence that would show us what those circumstances were? That's it. I'll take a look at the court record and present some evidence. We heard this from Mr. Light yesterday, didn't we? There's not much in that testimony either. I bet you he's still hiding something. I won't be surprised. We'll just have to draw it out of him. I just hope he doesn't make things any more complicated. Alright, so what do we have in the testimony? What's he talking about in the testimony? Ron Sesame from... Well? Alright. So, that's a little strange. Okay, so Phoenix just pointed out that this is a little bit strange. But why is it a little bit strange? Well, the only thing I can think of, I'm actually gonna save since I have no idea. I believe what I'm looking for is this, the buzzer record. Since the buzzer went off at exactly 1:02 a.m., which means he would have had to have taken 10 minutes to address that, turn it off, and then stuff the guy in the safe. So, my guess is this? I'm hoping I'm right, but yeah. Your Honor, could you please take a look at this record? And what might this be? The record for the emergency buzzer that connects the CEO's office to security. If the button in the office is pressed, the security team is supposed to come running. And according to this record, the buzzer was pushed once at 1:02 a.m. What? If Mr. Rondelet truly was the murderer, he would have ran as soon as that buzzer sounded. After all, the security guard would have been heading his way.
Objection!
That's a very good point. Let's remember who we're dealing with here. He probably had no idea there was a security personnel in the building. He was the security chief, you dunce. Until 1 year ago, yeah, up until a year ago, he was working as chief of security. There's no way he wouldn't have known about them.
Objection!
But, as it turns out, the guard never came. That was nothing more than coincidence. The fact that the guard was a pathetic loser, who had just gotten punched in the face by his ex's new boyfriend, and wasn't anywhere in the vicinity, was not something Mr. Delight could have known.
Objection!
That was a very specific example. Again, remember who we're dealing with here. It's a sure bet that Mr. Delight didn't even notice the buzzer going off.
Objection!
This buzzer is extremely loud. There's no way he could have ignored something like that. If he had been conscious, that is. Conscious? What do you mean by that? That's a good point. Fine. Let's hear your theory. Recall the defendant's testimony. The moment he entered the victim's office, someone attacked him. Mr. Light said he felt dazed. I'm willing to wager that he was knocked unconscious for at least a few minutes. Unconscious? So he fainted? That's why Mr. Light didn't know that the buzzer had sounded. And that's why he thought he had time to hide the body. So what are you trying to say? Mr. Light was knocked out, and the buzzer went off soon afterwards. Now, unless my client was able to hit the buzzer while he was unconscious, it can only mean that there was another person in that room. That's right, whoever it was, they knocked out Rondelet and pressed the buzzer. That's a good point. Order in the court, Mr. Wright. This is...
Objection!
Yeah, this is preposterous. If it was this kid, Rondelet is the one who killed Kane Bullard. Alright, then who pressed the buzzer? It was... the victim, of course. He pressed the buzzer when the defendant attacked him. He didn't die right away. He must have held on long enough to push that button. So Kane Bullard sounded the buzzer himself. What's your opinion on this, Mr. Wright? There's a problem with that. I need to prove that the real criminal was there at the scene, but how? Can I prove that it wasn't Kane Bullard who sounded the buzzer? Yes, because there's no fingerprints on the buzzer. Looking at it, there's no fingerprints. Looking at it, yeah, there's no fingerprints on it. I can prove it. The defense's opinion is this, Your Honor. This piece of evidence proves that it wasn't the victim who sounded the buzzer. And that's the buzzer itself, because there's no fingerprints on it. I I believe this is the piece of incontrovertible evidence you were looking for. The emergency buzzer? Is there some kind of clue on it? Absolutely not. Hey, come on now. At least give some thought as to what you say before opening your mouth. The fact that there are absolutely no clues is itself the clue. Now I'm the one who's clueless. Fair enough. This button has no fingerprints on it. If Mr. Bullard had really pressed it himself, naturally he would have left his fingerprints behind.
Objection!
Ron Delight obviously wiped them off. Why would he? A guard could have come in at any moment. He touched that button, I know he did. The defendant, Mr. Delight, was dressed as Master Mask. And Master Mask always wears gloves. What reason could he possibly have had to wipe the button free of fingerprints? This is getting interesting. Order, order, order. Ha, it would seem. I've been forced to eat crow. I wonder what blend number crow flavor coffee is. However, if the real killer was there at the scene, why would that person press the emergency buzzer? Shouldn't they have run away without putting themselves in extra danger? I think they did, though. What's with this awkward silence all of a sudden? Ah, it looks like you're fresh out of parlor tricks. But they're on to you, Nick. Just give me a minute to collect my thoughts. The real culprit killed Mr. Bullard around 1 a.m. And Mr. Light just happened to watch him when the murder was taking place, right? The killer clobbered Mr. Light and then sounded the buzzer. Even though security was supposed to respond right away if the buzzer was pressed, security was supposed to respond? Time's up, Mr. Wright. Let's hear what you have to say. Very well then. Oh, you've got some guts. I like that in an opponent. Why did the real killer sound the emergency buzzer? To call the security guard. The killer knew that if they pressed that button, a guard would come running. And that was exactly what they wanted. Do you mean that the killer called the guard on purpose? Yes. Although, as it turned out, he never showed up. Because he was getting his clock cleaned at the time. Ah, what a touching story. You're saying the killer had a change of heart and called the guard to turn himself in? No, I'm not. When that buzzer sounded, there were 3 people in that office. The victim, Kane Bullard, who was already dead. The defendant, Ron Delight, who was out cold. And the 3rd person, the real killer. Hypothetically, yes. Now then, in this situation, if the real killer made an escape, what would happen? The only ones left in that room would be the victim and Ron Delight. And if any security guards came running in at that time, they would think I was the murderer. Yes, that is precisely the real killer's objective. To frame Ron Delight for the murder. Alright. He's kind of, sort of, just keeping his calm about all this. Alright. Order, order, order! Ha. It would seem... I've been made to eat my words once again. Actually, you've been made to do a spit take with a cup of coffee. Mr. Wright, who is it? Who was it that tried to frame me? Wait. Wait a second. I'm the one and only Master Mask, so... Nick, you mean the real killer is... We're going to drag that person in here right now. But, who is it? I don't have any solid proof yet, but I think about it. The killer knew Mr. Light's identity, and they also knew that he had been called to KB security that night. So, the killer used him to execute a well-crafted plan to murder Kane Bullard. Now then, let's hear your accusation, Mr. Wright. Who was it that framed Mr. Ron Delight for the murder of Kane Bullard? Well, based on the silhouette, I've been saying this whole time, but based on the silhouette, I think it can only be this guy. I think it can only be look at me. Because the silhouette looks exactly like him, and he lines up with all the other evidence as well. But that's beside the point. I'm just gonna pick him based on the silhouette, since they look suspiciously similar.
Take that!
Detective, look at me. He's the only one who could have done it. Ace Detective, look at me. You mean Master Mask did it? Your Honor, the person being tried in the court next to us is not Master Mask at all. He is, in actuality, the true murderer of Kane Bullard. Order. Mr. Wright, explain yourself. Theft and murder. Which is the more serious crime? They're not even close. Murder is the more serious crime, of course. It's a capital crime subject to capital punishment. Please remember the trial from yesterday, if you would. When Look At Me confessed, there was a huge commotion in the courtroom. Of course, a famous detective was unmasked as Master Mask. Instead of being convicted of murder, he was found guilty of grand larceny. That was his true objective all along. To be found guilty. Master Mask had the perfect alibi for when the murder took place. He was stealing the urn at Lordly Taylor. In other words, being found guilty as Master Mask was Look At Me's airtight, watertight, and unassailable alibi. A guilty verdict. As an alibi? That's interesting. You know, it's almost time. For what? For Look At Me's verdict. It was a pretty simple trial, after all. If we're going to stop this trial and stall that one, we need to do it now. Of course, that's assuming you have proof that the detective was the one who committed the murder. Mr. Look At Me's trial has indeed attracted the attention of the entire country. If we were to intrude and fail to provide adequate proof of his true crime, Mr. Light would be left with no grounds for appeal. I'm really sure about this. A bet's only good when your life's the ante. Mr. Wright, I believe in you. Mr. Delight. So, please. I'm begging you. Okay. Now we need to figure out what the actual... Thanks, but... my decision will determine the rest of your life. Can I really risk your life like this? Phoenix? Okay, Mia's appearing in my head again. What was that? Don't stray, Phoenix. For a client, take the path of trust. That voice. It sounds like... Mia! Your Honor, the defense requests an immediate recess. So that's your answer, huh? Very well. I've decided as well. This court will now take a 20-minute recess. Mr. Wright, when we return, please summon Mr. Look At Me to the stand. Yes, Your Honor. Okay, October 14th, 11:58 a.m., District Court, courtroom number 5. Oh. Hey! Hee 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 hee. Well, Sir Detective At Me? Yeah. Heh heh heh. I have to say, Mr. Payne, you performed splendidly. Oh no, Sir Detective At Me. You were the one who... That's enough. This court seems no reason to further prolong this trial. This court finds the defendant, Look At Me.
Hold it!
Wait! Don't hand down your verdict yet, please. Well, Sir Lawyer, welcome to my courtroom. Who's the hoser, eh? My name is Phoenix Wright, attorney at law. And I wish to file an accusation against this man. Look at me. Accusation? You accuse Master Mask. That man is not Master Mask. He's just a ruthless murderer. What? Alright. To be continued. Alright, neat. Also, it's in... I should have suspected this. There are different judges, but, I was not... I mean, that kind of threw me for a loop that there was indeed a second judge. So, I mean, I probably should have expected that, but I didn't. I should have, but I didn't. Well, in any case, I suspect it now, so that exists. But, in any case, That's gonna do it for today's episode of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Oh, that only took like 40 minutes. Okay, doke. Well, in any case, I think we're going to leave this episode here. So we've successfully, well, maybe not successfully, but it seems looking based on all of the evidence that we presented so far that Luke Atme is indeed trying to frame Rhonda Light as a murderer, which is going to be, so he's using that as his alibi to try and cover for the fact that he killed someone. So we're going to have to pull that out of him and prove that he didn't do that. But I am interested to see how that's actually going to happen. But in any case, I think I'm going to leave this episode here. So yeah, that's just interesting. So yeah, he used the fact that he used grand larceny as an alibi, and we're going to have to prove that next time. But for right now, I think I'm going to leave this episode here. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitter in the description below. Be sure to check out my Patreon in the description below as well. If you want to help support me, it's only a couple bucks a month, and it does help me out. So you guys get access, and you guys do get access to a bunch of cool perks, and I'm always saying thanks. So be sure to go check that out down in the description below as well. Also, if you want to see more content from me, then you can check out my Twitch down in the description below. I stream every Sunday at 2:30 Eastern Standard Time. So if you guys want to check that out, by all means, again, link is down in the description. Again, it's every Sunday at 2:30. So if you guys want to see that, by all means, go check that out. And finally, the other way you can actually support me is by actually checking out the videos linked in the end screen. The top video is the most recent video. It may or may not be this one. Whereas the bottom video is a video recommended to you based on what you've already seen from me. So, if you want to try something new, or see more of what you like, then make sure to check both of those videos out. But, regardless of whether or not you do any or all of those things, thank you guys so much for watching, and also next time I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!